What's good, chats? Welcome back. BTL episode 427, I believe. Back to talk about a lot of CBB today. I don't want to get in any bullshit today. We're cutting the shit. A little bit of a time crunch. We've got a lot of stuff to go through. So let's just do it. Let's go right into the recap, Scoots. Bring it up. Squad ride, piss, Miami, money line, shit wager. Boston College came out and they were the Warriors. It's what they had to do to win this game. They did. Hats off. Omier foul trouble also didn't help. He was soft, but we move. That's why we're here for today. Let's go to the Sharp Report review. I don't even know why I said review. Recap. 3-2 for me. Not mad at that. Miami piss. Ducks over air. Chelly collab air. Wagner. We'll get to that in a second. But Wagner free as maw. Absolutely free as maw. And the Rockets somehow didn't cover that game after being up double digits with 2 minutes left, I think. Somehow choked that. I know a lot of us had Rockets ML and Lays, though, so not terribly upset, but would have loved if they could cover that game too, even down to the 3 that we all got after the Wemby news. And then Jordan Clarkson, feeding families. A little bit of a sweat. It never is easy with Jordan Clarkson, but starting to get hot again, starting to chuck again. And he covered 19 points. So we love to see that. Even got bumped down a little bit before the game and still found a way. So we love Jordan Clarkson. Entries, though, we do not love those. Goots, go ahead and put those up. Jordan Poole, sure. Tried to convince Krabs on Kispert. Didn't get there, which is okay. Poole was pissed. May was pissed. Derek White was literally the greatest of all time. So pissed there, and then pissed on B team too. Don't even remember what we had in this one. Savage, worst square of all time. Hands down, worst square of all time. He came out and was the only one shooting early in the game. Dylan Brooks air, EK foul trouble. So we move. I have a good feeling that we're going to have a couple winners today, or at least I will. I don't know what Krabs is going to look like after VT puts him in potential piss that the game he's at right now. So we move from that. Let's show the tickets punch, Goots, because I think we got a little bit to talk about here. And yes, Get Busy Dizzy was correct. Derek White was indeed Ray Allen. Shout out Sub Bangs. I don't have that up, so feel free to tell me who that was so I can give them their love. But shout out for the Sub Bangs. We got tickets punched for March Madness. And if you're listening to the first BTL pod that we talked about this in, we had a lot of these. Shout out Stetson, huge call. J Mart, subbing. Love to see that. Shout out J Mart, 24 months, 2 years. Let's go. So we got Stetson. Krabs brought up a little Longwood, I guess, look or whatever, talking about how they always make news in the tournament. Charleston punched their ticket. Oakland punched their ticket, which was one of the ones that I had last night. And then the real one that I want to talk about, how about the Wagner Seahawks, man? Coming through, not just last night as 7.5 underdogs outright on the road where that conference tournament is, but plus 2,800 to win the tournament. NEC pre-tournament. That was up there with one of my shining moments. Absolutely crazy call. We love Wagner. That was huge. Showed so much heart in a really gross game, especially on the road, like I was talking about. So we absolutely love to see that. Looks like BYU is mucking up 2 touchdowns. That's crazy. Crazy. And look at Wagner, man. Just a gritty team over there. Aloha said he sprinkled Wagner ML. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. Richie Parlay like the PODP baseball pod too. Awesome. And we're going to have a couple of those coming up later this week and early next week. So we will surely get into more of those. But yeah, shout out Wagner, man. So much heart. Got him at, Hughes plus Chick, obviously to win the tournament, but every game in the tournament too. So that was a huge bankroll builder, especially when I was not hitting too many bets towards the end of last week. I was hitting Wagner. That was for sure. So shout out to them for winning their tournament. I think they're going to be a fun little watch. I assume they're going to be in the first 4. So we'll be seeing that. And the rest of the tickets. Oh, here we go. Krabs in attendance for VT Piss already. Love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. I mean, you could have guessed it, right? You could have guessed it. That's absolutely hilarious. I want to see if they can win that game. That would be so funny. But yeah, let's move back. Tickets punch. We talked about Drake and Morehead State, or at least I had Drake, and we both talked about Morehead State on the pod. South Dakota State, another huge one. Same with JMU. St. Mary's is definitely the one we really didn't believe in, but they cashed their ticket last night. I think both teams are obviously in the tournament, so not much of an effect there. But we move on from that. Let's go straight into Sharp Report before we head to the conference tourney, Scoots. Cut no bullshit. We do have Krabs picks here to the side as well. He did send his best regards, and he's currently sweating that Hunter Couture 2.5 threes made at the game. I did see he hit one early. I don't know if we have anything past that, but I'll start with mine. TCU ain't losing today. That's your mid-game sweat. It's a pretty crucial game for them, which it very well could be for Oklahoma as well. In terms of tournament implications, they've kind of played their way back onto the bubble the last couple of weeks. They've been playing hurt, down a guy with Uday who drastically changes everything that offense does. Now they're playing Oklahoma today, which Rivaldo Suarez is actually not playing, which is a bigger deal than you think. He is a sizable guard that also helps him a little bit in the rebounding area, but he's a bigger guard to kind of distract everything that the smaller TCU guards do, and smaller as in Jameer Nelson, Avery Anderson, and not smaller as in Micah Peavy, who he would actually have seen a lot of time on. So it's going to make it a little easier for TCU to generate offense, I think. Micah Peavy is going to be able to get to the rim a little easier. They're going to space the floor a little bit too, especially when they go small ball with Jacoby Coles on the floor, who I think can have a pretty big game too. So I like the Frogs. I laid it before it got like a little juicier than it is now. I got like minus 150. I think it's like minus 170 now, but I would still lay it there. I'm still going to probably lay it there again. They're not losing this game. Oklahoma's good, but they're playing on the road where JV McCollum has been terrible, funny enough, terrible away from home, literally everywhere except when they played at TCU's home court where he hit 5 threes. Other than that, especially like towards the end of the conference season, he's been absolutely awful on the road or away from home. Now they're going to be away from home. So I think TCU's defense could shut them down a good bit or shut him down a good bit. And it's really going to come down to Milos Uzan, which he's going to be doing everything for that offense. I think he can be pretty solid, but I do love that Uday is back for TCU. So people don't realize how good of a rebounding team Oklahoma has been to close the season. Sam Godwin, best offensive rebounder in all of college basketball by the numbers. Uday being back is huge. Cole's starting to take a little bigger role in the small ball lineup is huge too. They're going to space the floor. No, Suarez makes them significantly smaller, and it is a desperation game for TCU. Like, it's just kind of the situation. So could be a look to live line. 100% Nikki Gord's. I laid it anyway because I don't feel like messing around with that in this game because I knew I'm going to bet it anyway. But feel free to hop in live if they go down, a little bit early because I do think they win this game. On to BC. Not an overreaction to yesterday. It's not taking them just because they shot like the Warriors because they look cool yesterday. Because honestly, in this game, I think it's more relying on their defense, not in the sense that they need to hold Clemson to 65 points or whatever it is, but they do match up well with Clemson. There's not many teams in the ACC that can run out two guys with size to hang with both Ian Shefflin and PJ Hall. And with PJ Hall, he's going to be matched up with Quentin Post a lot. Quentin Post is a bigger, more athletic version of PJ Hall. He's going to play on the outside. He's going to play on the inside too. You hope he can stay on the court, gets in foul trouble a lot. So he's going to be matched up with PJ Hall. And then Devin McLaughlin, who is a little smaller than Ian Shefflin, he's going to be matched up with him too. But again, two guys that are pretty physical and can play on the inside, can play out, but two bigs that they can run out that match up pretty well with them. So it's going to be guards versus guards in this game. I think you're going to get a solid amount of offense from both PJ Hall and Quentin Post. It's kind of a given, but really it's going to come down to, I think, if Clemson's going to win this game by a lot, you're going to need a Joe Girard masterclass, which I don't think you're getting in this one. And I think Claudel Harris and Jaden Zachary can keep up too. And Mason Madsen, who's all of a sudden Steph Curry now too. So I trust BC to keep this one close. I don't know if they win this game, obviously, but I do think they keep it within the 7. UCF finally scored 2-14. Hang the banner. That could be the difference. Trent, all-time bitching video on Twitter. Get that up in a second, Goots. I want to see that. And then we're going to the NBA. I'll take you through the last two before you watch that video. Lakers money line. Playing the Kings off a back-to-back after the Kings just had a massive performance, actually, in a blowout against the Bucks last night, which I think we've seen this story a couple of times with teams really finding the Lakers after these letdown spots or in these letdown spots. It's another one that I'm simply going to take. The Kings are one of those teams that when you find them in a right spot on a back-to-back, especially when it's after a really big performance, they shit the bed. We did it with the Spurs where they should have lost that game, and that was only one of the many examples that they've given us this season. And yes, Sabonis 10-0 versus AD. Surely that's going to last. He's been bitched around from him multiple times. Can tell you with them on a back-to-back, this maybe gives a little bit of a window for him to get his get back in this one. But I like the overall matchup too. I mean, these are two teams that are yeah, getting actually destroyed on the perimeter. Obviously, the Lakers are a little weaker inside than I guess you can argue the Kings are, just because Sabonis has been a little better in there than the Lakers have been for the extent of the season. But it's a perimeter-laden game and a back-to-back and a really good spot for the Lakers, really bad spot for the Kings. I'll take my money and put it on the Lakers. Love the line flip, but it's probably where it should be after this game. Not to mention 3-0 head-to-head, Lakers will roll. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. And then last pretty gross slate play on here, straight play, is UTSA money line, the Roadrunners. They're fading Temple, who just had a miracle win on them just before this tournament started. Crazy game, crazy comeback. Really just a chaos-filled game, kind of what you expect out of these games. Because UTSA, they play no defense. It's not really a secret. Temple hasn't been much better, but both of these teams, again, are just so weak on the inside, and I think UTSA can get whatever they want. You're seeing a little steam towards UTSA's way, which I think is pretty pertinent, especially after you're seeing them. I think they're -4.5 in that game that we just saw them play against Temple, and they lost outright. And now it's a little different of a scenario, obviously, but Temple, I don't think that's a team that's really built to run this track meet style and beat a team twice in a row, even as bad as UTSA is. So I think the tempo is going to make them a little uncomfortable in this tournament setting, and it's going to be a pretty tough go for Temple. So I'm down to fade the match fixtures over there, and I think UTSA wins this game. Whole globe is on UTSA, surely. You could say that about every play. Seems to be every single play we bring up, the whole world's on apparently, and doesn't always work out for anybody tripping. So we'll see how that works out today. So we got the 4 plays, and then Prize Pick Square, if you saw it, posted the POD graphic. Christian Shoemate, McNeese is on the board, and they're in their conference tournament final championship, whatever you want to call it. They're going to book their ticket to go to the NCAA tournament today. They're massive favorites. Obviously, it's not a hot take, but Christian Shoemate's the guy. He's up 20.5 PRA. Nichols is a small team. They really run out like all forwards. There's not really like a massive presence for them in the paint, really. So there's a reason why Shoemate in both games had a double-double, even with decreased minutes in one of them. So I think he absolutely grubs today, especially like they want to get out on the fast break. That's their game. They're a really good fast break team, a really good shooting team, three-point shooting team. So Shoemate's not going to do the latter. He's going to get out and transition. He's literally in a dunk contest every time he's on the fast break. So I think in this game specifically with Nichols, a team who's very turnover prone and is very small on the inside, Shoemate is going to absolutely grub. So that's the reasoning for that square. Now we're through all of the sharp reports. So here we go. BYU on pace for about 150 points. Huge. So let me see that video, Goots, if you got that up. I want to see the all-time bitching. Thinking about doing a new daily segment called the Bitching Hour. Oh, my God. We might need to play that.
After just a shit night of gambling. I mean, when is it going to be my time, bro? When is it going to be my day to smack a 4-man entry? We got Halliburton threes. That shit got took off the board. -140 plus EVs are splooging. I'm so bricked up. All right. SGA gets bumped up a whole point too. It's -170 on the books. The sharps are looking at my entry thinking, holy shit, the plus EV here is unbelievable. I watch Halliburton airball 3 threes, and free throw merchant SGA just wants to get his 30 ball and dip, bro. Doesn't even care about covering for the boys. SGA points is becoming unbettable because as soon as they put it over 30, it's just a coin flip whether or not he's going to get 31 or 30. It makes me so angry, man. De'Aaron Fox points last night, cash of the century on a 4-point play to go over. And Nathan McKinnon points is about as green of a goblin you'll ever see. Shout out the Houston Rockets for saving my parlay from full fading. Miami money line, top 5 shit wager of the year, and it's literally not even April yet. It's March Madness. I'm already fucking over this shit, dude. It hasn't even started yet. Gonzaga is also up there for shit wager of the year. Both were favored, and they both lost. Laying -300 in the NBA, too, might be the dumbest shit you could do. Thunder money line at home against the Pacers. Surely they win that, right? Yeah, I fucking bet. What else? The Hurricanes, fresh, shiny new toys off the trades. Bageled at home. Bageled. 0 goals. It's just, that was a great way to start the night. It's just like, when is it going to be my fucking time? You know? I do all this lab work. I log into props.cash looking for plus EV shit. When's it my time, bro?
Bro said he did all his lab work.
I
Well, there's your Steam Crabs replacement for the day. There's your little segment there, and that can be his new segment, even though whoever said that, it is definitely a loop of bitching. That's really what the entire couple of streams are. But maybe it's his time today. We'll see. But now we can go through all the conference tournament shit. That's what we're here for. I do have Crabs winners. We have 10, I believe, starting today. So we have 2 graphics of 5 and 5. We'll put the next one up when we get there. But let's go through some of these, and Goots, you can put up the brackets for those as we kind of get to them. Can start with the American, which, to be honest with you, I think is a crapshoot. And also for anybody asking in the chat, I don't have Nerfies. That's Crab's little area. And then I don't like anything in this game that's starting up here in a few either. So nothing for me there. But I do want to talk about
one thing.
Let's hear it.
Just a bullshit work here for the graphic for the bracket right here.
Dude, I know.
Dog
there's a
shit.
couple of like the bigger tournaments that just didn't even try.
Like, what is this?
One of them. I know. It's
Just
unreal.
Loose leaf background. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Come on.
like actually it's literally like they made this in Microsoft Word. There's
Literally,
no
I could have done this in 2 seconds. I mean,
literally no effort, no heart. Some of like even the shittier conferences, like the Neck. I remember the Neck had a pretty cool graphic. We were
Neck
looking
was
at that.
awesome.
The
Yeah,
Neck was like one of the best ones, and
some colors going on and everything.
The Americans fucking not even trying. Unreal,
Rad.
dude. But yeah, this is a crapshoot of a tournament, and you could tell me 6 different teams, an argument for all of them, and I wouldn't say a word in this tournament because I really think it is just going to be that type of tournament. And I say that as I'm taking the 1 seed, but we all know it's not a regular 1 seed. It's the 1 seed that is constantly disrespected. Nobody really believes in them still. The metrics hate them because they had a couple of really bad losses early in the year before they were healthy, before they kind of figured out who they were as a team. But I do like USF, and I'm kind of leaning into that narrative, I guess you could say, that nobody really believes in this team, and they do. I think it's ridiculous that they need to win this tournament for them to get into March Madness because of 2 or 3 shitty losses they had in, I don't know when it was, like early November, like literally when the season started. Just because that makes their net rating terrible. It makes all their metrics terrible. But I do like USF, and the draw that they got isn't too bad either. I really don't know what to expect from the bottom side of their bracket, whether it's Memphis or UAB. Those are 2 teams with massive variance. I do think UAB would be a nice draw if they could somehow knock off Memphis. But that Memphis team, if we're talking like, I don't think that game at Memphis when USF beat them was a joke or any sort of fluke. USF is really good at turning teams over. We all know how sloppy Memphis is with the ball. So that's a nightmare matchup for Memphis. So, like, yeah, they can score regardless. They can pick up the tempo. You can say, like, I don't know, really at every position, they're a little more athletic than USF. That's just kind of the situation of it. But it's the same deal with really everybody else in that conference not named FIU or FAU. So I think that's a pretty tough matchup for Memphis, especially on a neutral court in Texas here, not too far from us. So I like USF out of that top side of the bracket, and then we get to the bottom. It's a little weirder. So, like, that's another part of it. Like, I think USF, while they're pretty prone to an upset, I guess, from really anybody on the top side of the bracket, I think it really comes down to what happens in that one against 4 or 5 matchup, you would think, with UAB and Memphis. But at the bottom of the bracket, I think there's a couple of teams that can make life really, really interesting. Like, Charlotte is playing really good ball, or was playing really good ball. They've sputtered a little bit towards the end of the season, but that's a team who's going to slow those teams down, and you're going to see I would think an SMU. I think it's chalk like early rounds of this tournament. It's kind of my thoughts. So I think they see SMU. You slow them down, it's going to become a rock fight. Nobody really knows how it's going to go because neither of those teams can find consistent offense. And then we get to like decide with FAU. I love FAU, and I think they're starting to play better kind of as the season's going on. FAU is starting to play well in March, but I don't think Tulane's beating North Texas. North Texas is a team that if I were anybody on the bottom of that bracket, I'd be really fucking scared of, because they can slow you down, and they're not even a Charlotte. I think they play their game better than Charlotte does. So if they're able to slow that team down and make life really, really tough for them, and they have, at least a physicality on the inside to hold Vlad, which that's not the key to beating FAU, but that's one of the pretty important, things to put the onus on the guards a little bit in a very slow game. That's a tough draw, I would say, for FAU. So as much as I'm starting to believe in them towards the end of the season, them playing much, much better, it looks like they flipped the switch a little bit. North Texas scares the shit out of me. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're the team that ends up taking it out of that bottom side of the bracket, especially if they get through FAU and then they draw, a Charlotte who, again, plays their style of basketball. So with all that said, give me USF out of the top. Nobody believes in that team. Chris Youngblood, absolute dog. Kashawn Pryor, as long as he doesn't go through one of his pouting fits in these games, I think they're in a pretty good spot. So USF plus 500 for me. Crabs like SMU, which, again, you could tell me a lot of those teams, especially from the bottom of the bracket, to make a way through, and I would not be shocked, and I really have nothing to say for that. So I'm 100% with you. Could be SMU, man. Jay Coin Snatcher agrees. Huge. And yeah, those boys in Denton play absolute nasty defense. That's like a nightmare matchup for really anybody in a tournament setting. So I don't have any problem with that. And yeah, SMU, if their guards play well, they will go crazy. It's just I haven't seen it consistently enough to believe. They need their defense to lock in, which is really the point there. And yes, we'll get to Pac-12. This is just the first part of the bracket. It's alphabetical. So Big East, another crapshoot one, I would say. So I'd definitely say this is one I'm not betting because I really don't love it. Because again, you could argue for a lot of teams in here. I went with Creighton just because I really don't want to bet against UConn necessarily. Like I do think they're going to be playing a desperate team, most likely in a Seton Hall or St. John's. I do think a lot of people love St. John's. I know Krabs loves them too, to make a run through this tournament when they really need it the most. Because I would think that they need not only a win over Seton Hall, but maybe one over UConn in the next round to really get through March Madness. I guess we'll see what everybody else in the bubble does. But see, St. John's is desperate. They need these games. I wouldn't be shocked if they knocked off UConn, but I don't want to bet against UConn until we get to the tournament game or tournament championship. So like the bottom of the bracket, Villanova DePaul, crapshoot, fuck that game. I mean, Villanova should absolutely destroy them. But what happens after that, who the hell knows? Because Marquette is a team that's playing down a couple of guys now, or down Kolek at the very least. I think he's supposed to miss a majority of this tournament, if not all of it. And then who knows what that Villanova defense is going to do to Marquette. Regardless, I don't like either of their matchups against Creighton. God forbid, they see Providence too. Whoever comes to that bottom side of the bracket is probably the side I want the value on. Like in a game-to-game sample size, would I be betting them against UConn in the final? Yeah, probably not. But I do want to take the value here with Creighton. That would be my pick, if any. Not what I'm going to bet, but I really don't like the Big East tournament here, the way it shakes out. I don't really feel confident about a specific angle. And yes, there is a real graphic. That's how you show the Big East some love. They actually tried. So this is huge. Maybe Goots made the graphic. We'll never know. But shout out the Big East. Shout out the Big East. But yeah, I went with Creighton plus 400. Crabs like St. John's plus 800. Absolutely. Let's go to the Big Ten. Another one that I don't really love all that much, partially just because I like Purdue to win it. And getting a lot of love from a couple of these teams. Really, I've seen a lot of Northwestern. I've seen a lot of Nebraska, and I get it. Totally understand why. I don't think Purdue – I'm not taking Purdue because they're invincible. Zach Edey's invincible, which really they're not, especially if they run into Nebraska in the final. That's the one team that I've seen year in, year out show that they have the defense to defend Zach Edey, and they've held him on numerous occasions. And last year I thought – a lot of it had to do with Derek Walker and the size and athleticism they had that year. Now the personnel has changed for Nebraska, so they figured out a way regardless. So they have something there. So if they are to see them in the final, that's definitely something to look out for. I'd be a little scared of that, but otherwise, like this Michigan State team's playing banged up. Even if they get past Minnesota, who knows what's going to happen? Minnesota doesn't have the guys to hang with Zach Edey even at tournament size. So I don't believe in either of those teams to knock off Purdue. Even if we get through to a Northwestern or a Wisconsin, God forbid. Northwestern, I think, is a little small and a little banged up at this point to believe that. Wisconsin, too. There's just not much that I see on the top of that bracket that really frightens me. It really comes from the bottom side of the bracket. From a betting sample size, I will say this. Game to game, I wouldn't be shocked if Ohio State, who's playing really good basketball right now, makes a little run, especially against Iowa and Illinois, two teams that are extremely high variance and defensively especially. Like you can get a lot done against them. Same with Indiana, who's starting to play much better too. That game against Nebraska, I know they've struggled against them this season, but I think it provides a lot of opportunity there. So again, that's another reason why I'm kind of leaning into Purdue a little bit. Like, yeah, they could get one of these super hot teams from the bottom side of the bracket, but I think it really helps them if they're not getting in Illinois and Nebraska, even though they're playing one of these red hot teams, or that would be the potential matchup there. So I like Purdue. It's not really a I love Purdue spot. It's more of a I don't believe in the rest of the Big Ten spot, and I do think we can all agree the rest of the Big Ten is pretty weak, even though we have some of the teams in the back end playing really good basketball right now. So Purdue for me, Nebraska for Crabs, which I could very well see that finals matchup happening. So maybe a hedge opportunity there first. Big West, I would love to have heard Crabs sell job on Santa Barbara. It's definitely one of the crazier ones he's had up here. It's an interesting bracket the way they set it up. It's kind of like the why am I blanking on the Zags? The WCC. It's kind of like they set it up, but crazy buy system like it should be. Which with that, I went UC Davis, and it's not really a complicated selection here. Like I don't think UC Santa Barbara, or I don't think Northridge can make much noise. So I do like Crabs angle of UC Santa Barbara, especially when they face Hawaii, a team that I think matches up pretty well with them. But UC Davis is so good at making a lot of these teams play their games. And I think from a tournament when he's on the prize picks board, Elijah Pepper, that dude can take over a game literally at any time. So I do think the bottom of the bracket provides those opportunities, especially against really weak backcourts, whoever they come out and get. And the top of the side of the bracket is a little more complicated, especially that Long Beach Irvin matchup that could potentially be lurking. I think that's a coin flip matchup. So pretty tough for me there, but I want Elijah Pepper. It's really all it comes down to against a couple of these backcourts to at least get to the finals, and we'll see what we can happen on a game-to-game basis when we get there. Have to reward the top 2 seeds in mid-majors. Yeah, we did talk about this on the BTL exclusive pod a little bit. I like the way that a lot of those conferences set it up to kind of protect them, which I guess Southland kind of does the same thing. They give McNeese an auto bid to the semis, which is perfect. They're not usually in the position where like they need a team because they don't have a dominant team really ever, except for this year. Need a team to have that auto bid to protect them, but yeah, you got to reward them. I love bid Steelers as much as really anybody else, but like teams like USF, I would love to see getting a little bit more of a little bump. An auto to the semis for USF would be crazy because I want to see them. It's so bad, really do. Have 400 in UC Irvine should have hedged then. I mean, it's a crapshoot of a tournament too. Once you get to the Final Four, so don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Looks like FSU is splooging rumors. Are they now? Don't tell me Crabs is in urine already. Oh, they're only at 4. A lot of points in that game, though. 41-37 coming out of the half. Couture is not taking a shot since early in the game. Crabs might be in piss with that 3 square. GG, though. GG. And yeah, that was a nice-looking bracket. We got a couple of them. I believe this one is somewhat nice-looking too, Goots. The MEAC, which we got starting up here today. Which this one is, it's not really ever fun to watch this tournament necessarily. Oh, I lied. That doesn't even look good, but at least they tried a little bit. They put a little something on the side. So this is
Step in.
Now, this is a pretty gross tournament to watch, not just because the MEAC, but a lot of these teams have absolutely no offense. So like a lot of these teams, especially like Norfolk, I think they're playing this game or this tournament in Norfolk, so they're going to have a little bit of home court there, obviously, but it's going to be gross. And I went with South Carolina State. Like I talked about, like none of these teams really have any good offense. Howard, I guess, is the team that you can argue, which Crabs selected in this tournament, that plays the fastest. I guess like offensive efficiency numbers wise, they're definitely up there at the top of this conference. But I want to go with the team that defensively can hold their own probably the most, because a lot of these teams can't score necessarily, but they play super fast and they play super sloppy. So like a lot of the low scoring games in the MEAC it's not just because like all these teams are, prime Tony Bennett UVA. It's just because the offense is so sloppy. It's god awful. So South Carolina State's actually one of those teams that plays solid defense. They match up well with a lot of these teams. They mix in a little bit of a zone, which I think Norfolk State also does, probably a little better than them. But we look at their side of the bracket. Got to go through Delaware State. I don't think that's much of a challenge. And NC Central is another one of those teams that usually has been very good at defending, but first of all, much better at home. But also, it's not the same this year as it's been like the past couple of years. So I think they have the tools and the offense themselves to get past them in that spot and eventually, at the very least, get to Norfolk State, in the final, which it could be very challenging to beat them at home in the final. But as we saw last night with Wagner against Merrimack on their home court, it's not impossible. So South Carolina State, after their tumultuous season last season, I think they've come back and they've been really, really good, better than I think anybody thought in this season. So I'm going to take a flyer on them. Then I think Crabs took Howard, which, again, if they were to pick off Norfolk State in the semis, that would be a great accomplishment, and I wouldn't be shocked with the way they score the ball. They just got to get through that zone. And, yeah, from Moose to first could be the difference. This is where the 16 seed that beats Purdue comes from. I don't know about that because whoever comes out of the MEAC, even if it is South Carolina State or if it's Norfolk State, they're probably losing in the first four. I'll tell you that. But there's the first five. We can go to the next one, Goots. Next little graphic. I think we have 5 left. Mountain West. Mountain West is another tournament that's going to be absolutely insane. Let's see that bracket real quick. W graphic here. At least they tried. But yeah, this is a really tough one to predict because we got a lot of teams, and it's kind of a culmination of everything that we've seen from the Mountain West. I mean, not just this year in, year out, but this season especially. Like Utah State, I don't know if I've ever seen a more disrespected team that's been leading the Mountain West really for the entire season, except for Utah State. And nobody really believes in that team. It's all about San Diego State. It's all about Nevada. It's all about, really the whole rest of the field. So Utah State getting that 1 seed, huge. They kind of got a tough draw, though. I'm not going to lie to you. For the 1 seed, playing UNLV or San Diego State, which I think it'll be San Diego State, but again, wouldn't be surprised if it's UNLV. Man, that's a really tough draw for a 1 seed. So I don't think they'll have any trouble with Wyoming or Fresno, but Utah is going to get a very versatile defending team, whichever way it shakes out between that 4-5 matchup. So I'm a little concerned for them finding their way out of it. Again, I do definitely hold that they're disrespected for really no reason, and they've been really good, and nobody's really talking about it or not talking about it enough. But that's a tough semi matchup. So I don't want to get involved with that. I'm with Borden right here saying I like the bottom of the bracket. Another team that is certainly not getting the love they should is Boise. And I don't know. I don't know that I've been super high on Boise really the entirety of the year, but they're a team that just wins games and nobody talks about it because it seems, I don't know, that they just find a way. It's not really vindicated, really, some of the times they come out here and play. But they've been good. The shot making's been really good. Omar Stanley inside has been really good. Max Rice has hit big shot after big shot. So I'm not going to lie and say I'm not worried or wouldn't be worried about a New Mexico coming out of here, assuming they get past Air Force, which they should. But a game with a lot of shot making and high variance is definitely not a game that I'm scared for Boise State's necessarily. Like, I don't think it's the worst matchup. Obviously, like New Mexico is a very sloppy team. So defensively, I think they're able to lock in and they're very undisciplined. So we'll see how it shakes out and transition off a lot of those turnovers. But Boise State, I think, is the team that I'm targeting value-wise. You do have to go through, a Colorado State or Nevada. Nevada's playing really good basketball right now, gaining a lot of confidence. But Plum's just telling me this team in Boise State that nobody really respects nearly as much as they should have. They just figure out ways to win coming through this tournament where I don't think many people are giving them enough of a shot. I'll take a shot because the top of that bracket, I think, is a crapshoot. Not the bottom of the bracket, significantly easier, but I think they finally break the seal here. And I forgot who Krabs picked in this one, if we can flash to it. San Diego State, which I can absolutely respect, coming out of the top side there. Which, I mean, yeah, if they can get past Utah State, big if there, but if they can get past them, I wouldn't be shocked either. Let's go to the Pac-12. Pac-12 is another weird one because, I mean, truthfully, I think Arizona's probably winning this tournament, but I don't want to bet on that really at all. Too heavy of a favorite for me for as bad as they've been away from home and how susceptible they've looked to a couple of upsets. That's why, I mean, speaking of upsets, USC is sitting right there. That's everybody's favorite long shot to win this tournament or make some noise. Don't disagree, but I'm not joining that train with everybody. I'm going to the bottom side of the bracket, which Utah's a scary one, but for the price, I think they're one. Like, they certainly could lose tonight against Arizona State. I don't think they do, but it's one that probably either dies pretty quickly or they make a huge run. I would love it if they were fully healthy in this game coming into it. But I mean, Rolly Worcester is supposed to have been back for, I don't know, a couple weeks now, maybe even a month. That's kind of like the basketball version of the Cam Rising situation. Crabs live bet on VT. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know it's coming. But yeah, Utah, I think Utah sets out pretty well. I think they got a decent draw. It's not that they're playing tough teams or bad teams. Had to be done. Here we go, Crabs. Here we go. Unreal, dude. Unreal. I mean, the vibes are going to be literally in the toilet if they lose this game. He's going to be in probably the most mood shit we've ever seen of all time. Sweet tickets, free sweet tickets to a VT game, and he goes there to watch them lose in the first round before they play UNC. That would be piss. That'd be so piss. But yeah, GG's. Back to it, Goots. Walner bomb. We love to see that. Love to see that. But yeah, Utah, I think the most important thing for me is Utah on the interior. Like, you know, they obviously have Carlson in there, who is a matchup challenge for a lot of teams. Definitely going to be one for Arizona State tonight, which is why I kind of like Utah. That, as well as Jose Perez, massive scoring option for Arizona State, is literally calling it quits already. So weird spot for Arizona State to be in. But Utah, I think they take care of him in that game. And then against Colorado, like what Utah does inside, I think that's well enough. Even if Cody Williams comes back for Colorado, the offense is flowing through Cody Williams, Tristan Da Silva, and then like a little bit of Eddie Lampkin, which is kind of exactly what Colorado or what Utah wants you to do. What do we have here, Goots? FSU splooging, going to the free throw line. GG. Hate to see that. Hunter Couture running cardio. Frogs first half. Sure. I mean, they're just going to win the game. Massive score chat. Hilarious. But yeah, Utah, I think if they get past Arizona State, it's madness in that Colorado game. I think they match up pretty well. And I wouldn't toss off the opportunity of Washington State getting picked off. And whether it's Cal or Stanford, I'll tell you that Cal line we'll talk about in a little bit when we go over the slate. Cal line looks awfully short after Stanford just beat the absolute shit again beat the shit out of them on their senior day, where that game was never really competitive. So, I mean, I definitely am getting vibes from the Pac-12, even if a team doesn't win it. I feel like some team like Oregon State, if anybody remembers that from one year, they were moose piss, the entire season. I think they were well into a losing record, came through, made a ridiculous run in the tournaments. They won it, and then they went to March Madness and won one, maybe two games. They're terrible the entire regular season. I'm getting this vibe from the Pac-12 really the entire year that one of these teams is going to do that. Obviously, I'm a little biased and maybe thinking it's Cal. I hate that they're kind of tail spinning to the end of the season. But one of these teams I think is going to make a run. One of these misfit teams. USC got potential is kind of what everybody thinks. I don't think they're really a bad team right now. They just got healthy, so maybe it's a little different. But I wouldn't be shocked if one of these teams towards the bottom made a run. Maybe it's Cal. I do think Washington State is very, very vulnerable against either Cal or Stanford. Definitely Stanford matches up a little better for a potential upset against Washington State, but I could see either team doing it. I think the bottom of the bracket crapshoot gets to the top. I do think Arizona wins, but I'm going to take a shot at the value with Utah at plus 1,600. Crabs like USC, getting to USC to beat Arizona for the second time in a week, which is what I personally think is really hard and taking me off of anything USC. But can't fault you for the value. I think everybody's in love with that this week. Let me know who you guys got in the Pac-12. That's a pretty interesting tournament. Definitely one where I want to take a little bit of value, even though I stay deep in the heart, I think Arizona wins that tournament. It's just not going to be impressive. Let's go to the SEC. So the SEC is a fun one, a really fun one. I feel like they could have done a little better on this graphic too, sneakily. Garrett Cole out 1 to 2 months. Well, I got news for you. Garrett Cole out 1 to 2 months is probably not going to be 1 to 2 months. That's just kind of how it works. So they might need Snell, or they might need to refresh that Dylan Cease trade, whatever they're going to figure out there. So yeah, they'll figure it out. They got to do something, and I don't want them to do anything, but they probably will. Let's talk about the SEC though. Let me know who you guys have in the SEC. This is a super fun tournament, especially in the bottom of that bracket. And truthfully, like I think Tennessee, as they should, they got a really good draw because realistically, they're going to play Mississippi State or LSU in that game. LSU is piss poor. They don't match up well with Tennessee really at all. Mississippi State, good defense. I don't think the offense is enough. And then I love Auburn, just period, but they haven't beat a team that's going to be in the tournament on the road all season. And not they're on the road now, but it's a neutral site game. They haven't been great in those either. And then South Carolina, probably not going to make it Tennessee. They're overrated. They suck. Great defense, but in a tournament setting, that doesn't hold up. So maybe they'll win a game against Auburn. Like I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe they'll win a game in the tournament, but I'm so out on South Carolina. But bottom side of the bracket, Kentucky, Florida, Bama offense, really all around. And we'll see what that top matchup between Ole Miss and Texas A&M brings. But if you're looking for value, you know where I'm going to take you. I'm taking you to Florida because talk about all these offenses, how great these offenses are going to be. That's where the variance is going to be in these games. Kentucky, Florida, Alabama, all going to do pretty similar things, all guard the same. The one difference is the same thing that we saw with Kentucky and Alabama in the games against Florida. What's the difference for Florida? Florida is a really good offensive rebounding team, especially, but just rebounding in general. They have a lot of size on the inside. Tyrese Samuel, Micah Hanlogton, Alex Condon off the bench. That's the difference between either of these or the three of these really elite offenses. And we talk about the offenses too. Kentucky and Bama, when they don't shoot well, the offense kind of falls apart. But we haven't seen that too much from Kentucky. They're starting to play well to where they've gotten consistent shooting performances. Bama, there's a reason why. We talked about this in the Florida game, I guess both of the Florida games when they went to Alabama and then when they came back to Florida over like the last week and a half. It's not like a fluke that they couldn't shoot against Florida. Florida matches up really well against them. And that's why they shot poorly from three. It took them, I think, until the minute left in the first half to make their first three against Florida. They had Mark Sears in jail. So they're very reliant on the three, and obviously their defense doesn't give you much confidence as well. But Florida, A, they've been really good going on the road, but B, they perform well when the matchup is there, which against Kentucky and against Bama, the matchup is quite certainly there. And I'm not just going to skip over Missouri and Georgia because Florida plays up the competition and they play down to competition. I'm hoping they get Missouri by some magic, but they haven't won a conference game, so you can't depend on that. Georgia game will be close, so don't skip past that. But they get to Alabama, they get to Kentucky, they can rebound, they play well away from home. The size is there, and Florida's offense, unlike the other two, not relying on the three. They're not a great shooting team. They generate a lot of offense. They can shoot poorly and then get the offensive rebounds and put them back up. That's a lot of their offense when they're not shooting well from the field, which is something to kind of expect. So I think Florida in this tournament setting is a little more sustainable, especially if they get to match up against Kentucky, who plays just like them, except they falter in the rebounding department a little bit. So for the price and for the value, I want to take my talents to a side on the bottom side of the bracket where you see the little trio of offenses there and you're getting the best price because they have an extra game. So give me Florida. And yeah, I've seen this tweet, this little statistic kind of flowing a lot on Twitter, and it's 100% true. Florida plays up to competition. They play down to competition really better than anybody else in the country. So that's kind of what you want them in. That's why you want them in a tournament setting, both now and, in the actual tournament in March. Couture break 3, Krabs and Moose, Krabs doubling down, GG. Deach does not like UK. I mean, yeah, I don't like them in this tournament. I would have loved if they were in the top. Maybe they could pick off a Tennessee maybe up there, but against the trio of offenses where they're probably going to have to beat, 2 or 3 of them, we'll see. All right, SWAC. I think we're pretty aligned on why, which we don't have to spend too much time on this tournament. I like Southern. I think it's a gross one. But Southern, I think they were tied for the favorite. It may have moved since then. I think Alcorn might be right up there with them now, and Grambling kind of tied, but it's very close across the board, which I think we both agreed was a little odd given the draw that they have. Alcorn gets to play. I guess you can throw Grambling in this too. 2 teams that, really should not be worth a fight. And shout out Subbang. Won the Gen 13 months. Let's go. Thank you, Aloha. Appreciate you, my man. But Southern, yeah, I think the odds are a little telling for this one. This kind of reminds me of a little Morehead State. We talked about that on the pod a little bit. Not the same because they were the favorite, even though they had to play an extra game and were not the best team out of the three, and they're the 3 seed. But Southern, similar thing. They got to play like a pretty tough matchup as the 4-5 against Bethune-Cookman. Compared to the other matchups, really, I mean, the top 3 seeds got a couple of teams that are just on paper, at least, should not be very competitive. We know the games are going to be competitive. It's always how the SWAC goes. They'll be close. They'll be lower scoring for the most part. But Southern got a little tougher of a draw with Bethune-Cookman. They're playing a guy, they has really 2 guys on Bethune-Cookman who can go off for 30 really at any time. So it's scary in that sense. But Southern is definitely the most well-rounded team, I would say, out of the middle of the pack. So the fact their odds are that low, definitely a little surprising. I do think if they do get past Bethune-Cookman too, like Grambling is very, very prone to an upset. I think they're extremely fraudulent. If their really big challenge is potentially getting to Alcorn, because I think Alcorn defensively is definitely the strongest team in this tournament. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I think Southern at plus 300 is very, very telling. So we can move from that, Goots. Yeah, Alcorn is kind of on a heater, which is why I do want to look at the updated odds and see what they have there, because Alcorn, I believe they're on a very, very fat winning streak coming into this. And to see them with the same or lower odds as Southern was definitely something that piqued my interest a lot. Yeah, so I mean, we have them at just 20 cents difference between them and Southern, I think is a little crazy considering how well Alcorn's played towards the end of the season. So I thought that was pretty tough. That's along with Southern being just pretty low in general, and then being right there with Alcorn, that should tell you something in the 4-5 game. And yeah, Grambling with the 3rd highest odds when they get a cupcake of a matchup to start the season or to start the tournament in Alabama State. In theory, I know it's a close spread that just had a super weird game, but Alabama State, that game should have really never been close. That was a crapshoot. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get picked off. I don't know if it's going to be a weird one, but they Grambling, I think they're -2 today. Wouldn't be surprised if that game does not go their way. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too. And I think we have one more, Goots. The WAC, which we are also on the same side on. And truthfully, I know Goots is in this pool of Grand Canyon, which I don't 100% disagree with. But in this tournament, I want a team that's pretty well-rounded to come out of this bracket. Miles deep in my bag, W Fat Girls. Moose, kind of graphic. But I do want a pretty well-rounded team coming out of this. I want a guy with Cam Tyson. I want a team with Cam Tyson to take down Grand Canyon. I think it's going to be odd. I was really debating between the 3 and 4 seeds here, between taking a stab at Seattle and taking a stab at UT Arlington. Grand Canyon should win this tournament. I don't think there's really a question about that. Definitely the most talented team of the pack. Tarleton poses a really tough challenge for any team that's going to come out and face them defensively too on the bottom side of that bracket. I think UT Arlington can hang with them, so that's not a bad value stab, I would say, too. But the Seattle team, I think they're playing good basketball. I think they match up pretty decently with Grand Canyon. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got picked off in this tournament either. Definitely still the most talented team. So if you want to go with Grand Canyon, I couldn't really fault you there. But Seattle, I think they're a solid shot for the number that you're getting. I think one of these 3 or 4 seeds definitely makes a big run and potentially has a shot to win this WAC tourney. So that's kind of where I'm at. Alcorn plus 400 on FD and Southern's 290. Wow. I mean, FD kind of with the Blue Book with the conference tournament odds have been kind of sharp. That's a big difference, big discrepancy, and that could be pretty telling. Everyone tripping VT, they might just come back within 4. Wow. That could be different. Abilene Christian Legacies, yeah. I mean, they have heart. They have so much heart, dude. That bottom of the bracket between Abilene, if they make it past Stephen F. Austin, and then UT Arlington, Tarleton State, those games are going to be really gross. That's going to be a lot of defense, a lot of grindy, physical games. So I don't know. And there goes Craps. VT's caked. Old Hokies in the suite. Absolute piss. Unreal, dude. Unreal. And yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. I'll talk about the game. I took a look at that game. I'm not really sure what to do with it, but yeah, Abilene Christian definitely getting some love because of what they've done in tournaments in the past couple of years, but they're still showing heart. And yeah, Couture sucks. GG. Well, let's get through it, Goods. I do want to go through just some of the games in the slates. I think we've talked about a few of them. I guess we can go through. Let's talk about the Big 12. Put that bracket up real quick. I think it's at the bottom of the links for the conference tournament. Their little updated bracket. Obviously, we have BYU, UCF going on today, or going on right now. Then we have Oklahoma, TCU. I've already talked about my thoughts on that one. Don't think TCU is losing that game. Then we have a couple of really interesting matchups on the bottom side of the bracket, which the first one is Kansas State, Texas, which this is probably just like Oklahoma, TCU, a pretty big game for bubble implications, as both these teams are kind of hanging close and both kind of need a win to at least get to Iowa State and beefing up their resume a little bit. I do like Texas. I think they're -4.5 in this game. Don't know if I'm going to lay that. Might look for a live bet opportunity, but I think they match up really well with Kansas State right now, the way it currently stands. I do think Kansas State defense is a little scary, but it kind of gets neutralized, when they go away from home. It's really, really tough to play at Kansas State, as a lot of teams in the Big 12 found out. Defensive rating takes a massive dip when they go away from home. Obviously, neutral site now, even though it's in Kansas City, but you dice up Kansas State's defense with really good passing guards, and you got a couple of them in Max Avimus and Tyrese Hunter. So I think that's the difference there. They definitely have the size advantage there. I know he's not fully healthy, but Dylan Dessou should probably get whatever he wants if he's going to be aggressive and assertive in this game. So I do like Texas. I will say this from just a pure, line standpoint. The total came down pretty quickly to like 141 from 143. Now it's back up there, which I think is pretty odd. I know if you're Kansas State, you probably want to keep this game super low scoring. Texas wants to lean on the defense a little bit too. Numbers aren't nearly as good, but if Kansas State gets blitzed by Texas offense early, this game could blow open and we could see a lot of points in this one. So I do like Texas. Not going to bet a pregame, but maybe a live look. We'll see what happens in that game. And then the bottom, Cincy, Kansas, which is interesting one of the day. Goods, you can put up that line because I think they're now -2.5, and we'll talk about Bozo Peace in a second, like lighting. Since he's -2.5 in this game, which I expected a pretty good bit of respect against Kansas with no McCullough, no Dickinson, now up to 3. Geez. So you're going to be playing against a Kansas team that you hate to use the word checked out because, it's a conference tournament in the best conference in all of college basketball. So it's not like they're just going to go out there and not try. But it's not the goal of this team. The goal of this team, especially with the guys in the court, is not to win the Big 12 championship tournament. And not only is it priority health, obviously, for the guys that are not on the court, but a couple of the guys on the court have been playing a little banged up too. Cincinnati too. Like, I don't know how Kansas is going to get a bucket inside on Cincinnati with Lakin and Bandego. That's a tough matchup, especially when you very obviously have no Dickinson. So I think Kansas is going to struggle to score in this game. That's not a hot take. They didn't have any scoring outside of McCullough and Dickinson really the entirety of the season, except for, these splurge from Johnny Furphy. So he's going to have to do a lot in this game. If Kansas is going to keep it close in this game and actually put up any amount of points, like Furphy's going to have a legacy game. DeJuan Harris is going to have to be super, super aggressive. Nick Timberlake's going to have to wake up and hit a couple of threes for once in his Kansas career. I don't think it's going to happen. KU's going to try and get them up and down the court fast. Yeah, that doesn't really work against Cincinnati. Doesn't really work at all. And if Kansas gets them up and down the court pretty fast, that's not good for Kansas because Kansas, with this cast that they don't have transition scorers. They have a transition facilitator in DeJuan Harris. Again, you're going to get spurts from him and Furphy, but other than that, there's nowhere to go. So I don't believe in their offense in this game. Again, probably not one I'm going to lay pregame necessarily. I don't think the line is that weird. Like I said, I did expect a little bit of respect. Probably not this much, but I get it with the situation Kansas is in. But I don't know if the motivation's really there. And yeah, it kind of does look like he doesn't even care this year. I think maybe you try and get a guy to go if you can, because realistically, it seemed like the way he was talking, like at the very least, McCullough could have played in this tournament if they really wanted him to, but they're resting up. They really don't need this tournament. And yeah, I could see a Timberlake legacy game loaded. I could so see it. Could absolutely see it, but that may not be enough. So I'm through on the Big 12. Maybe we can circle back to the ACC bracket a little bit, Goots. Which now we have the updated bracket there. VT looks like they're back. Maybe they'll get through to face UNC. This Wake Notre Dame game is interesting because I was very hard on the other side of this, and I think it was 2 weeks ago when Wake was -6.5 on the road going into Notre Dame. Very, very confident that Notre Dame was going to win that game outright. Talked about it for a while. They did. That was a massive letdown spot for Wake, and they've been in a tailspin really ever since then. I don't think that's going to happen today. Wake has gotten a little better, I would say, matchup wise. I think the way that they're playing the last couple of weeks, they haven't been playing better basketball, period. But I think the way that they've been adjusting their style a little bit works a little bit better towards Notre Dame. Like, I think they're going to play a little more aggressive with Efton Reed, like they have been the last couple of weeks. So he's going to be a dominant force on the boards. I wish they had his boards up on Prize Picks. I would take that. Notre Dame's obviously very small. And you're going to need a legacy game from Hunter South. So as much as I do love the Irish kind of long term, I think that spread continuing to move up towards Wake is pretty telling. So I think I'm there. I don't know if they cover the game, but I don't think they lose the game. Simple as that. So yeah, I think Wake moves on to face Pitts. Then we have NC State, Syracuse. Flip a coin in that game. NC State, I do worry about. I know they just faced Louisville once they put up like 90 points, whatever. It doesn't really count. It's Louisville, but no DJ Horn, assuming that that's still the case. I do worry about consistent offense enough to keep up with Syracuse. I will say that. Syracuse does have the guys inside enough to make DJ Burns pass, which not that he's a bad passer, but it's going to put a lot on the weight of the guards or a lot of weight on the shoulders of the guards. When you don't have DJ Horn, it's a little different. But I will say this, and yes, Q's just beat shit out of them. So to see this line, right? Interesting. It's just a weird game. Super weird game. I do lean the way of NC State. I don't want to get involved in that game, but I worry about DJ Horn not being able to play. Then I talked about my BC Clemson thoughts. I think BC keeps it close. Maybe they win that game. They match up really well. One of the few teams at that side of the bracket that I think matches up well with them. So give me BC plus the points. You can go back to the full slate now. Goots. Look at the odds. Let me know in chat any games that you have any thoughts on or that we haven't touched on yet. I feel like we've gotten through a majority of them. Definitely can talk a little USC Washington in that game, which seems to be, I guess, the favorite sharp spot today and just in the tournament in general. I don't want to get involved with that personally. USC's everybody's new shiny toy. Maybe they win the game. I don't really know. It's a lot of steam. Steam's been getting killed in these conference tournaments, but I don't know if I have a position on that. Really, I don't want to take Washington, but I don't want to take USC because I want to wait to fade them until they play Arizona. Seems like one of the easier bets on the board, though, I would say, with USC as well as they're playing close to season, coming off a big win against Arizona, putting them in position to potentially get a couple of wins here to feed them into conference play, or feed them into NCAA tournament play. So I am good off that. Wake Forest was the Bozo piece done. They could be like lightning. Certainly could be. I don't think they lose. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. Talked about TCU. It's down there. Alcorn, maybe a little short of a line. Not going to lie. It's Alabama A&M. A lot of those lines in that tournament are short. Can keep moving down a little bit. Is Fresno State dead? You can't wrap your head around the line move 7.5. Yeah, they get a lot of these big line moves. I just never feel like getting invested. UTSA, talked about my thoughts. I'll be on UTSA, of course. Flip-flop game. Xavier Butler, that's a strange one. I mean, if we're talking about easier bets on the board, I guess Butler would seem probably like one of those two. Seems to be a square favorite today, and not literally in the sense that they're a dog, but they're popular amongst the squares today. So I will be staying away from that. They've been playing decently well. I don't like the matchup in this game specifically. Definitely would lean Xavier, but again, Big East toss-up game. Don't feel like getting involved. McNeese, 16.5 in the conference tournament final. They are light years better than everybody else in this tournament, of course, but it's such a large number for a final, and they're going to get there. Oregon State, UCLA, that game's probably soaring under 125, low total for a reason. I think both these teams are going to try to go at each other in the paint, which is not the way to attack really either of these teams. So super low scoring. Same with Rutgers, Maryland. A couple of teams that are maybe dealing with a little bit of injury like luck on either side too. I don't know what Julian Reese's status is for today. I know he's questionable coming into the game. A couple of things on both sides. Look like we got a tied game. No way we got a Tyler Nickel appearance. Tyler Nickel 3 threes in the ACC tournament is crazy. Crabs might be locked. Crabs might be so locked. But yeah, both the under in that game and Rutgers, Maryland, I would not mind in the slightest. I really debated laying it with Sam Houston in this game, -7.5. We know how bad FIU is. They just came off a game where they pulled an upset in the first round to get to Sam Houston. They split these games in the regular season. FIU was a very short dog. I think it was directly after the game we took them at the same exact line, +7.5. And they lost by like 50, and they came back on the weekend. They're +2.5 against Sam Houston, beat them outright. Sam Houston followed that up. Second matchup, beating them pretty handily. Then now we're coming back in this game. I really want to fade them. And 7.5 has been kind of the magic number for these larger favorites. So I definitely am debating getting to the counter with Sam Houston in this game. FIU, I mean, defensively, they're not going to scare anybody, even coming off of a performance where they looked a little better yesterday in the first round. But Sam Houston, I think, is just going to bully them on every level and force FIU into a lot of turnovers. So, I mean, yeah, Sam Houston's hot right now. I do like them to make noise in this tournament. I think an emphatic, dominant win over FIU would do wonders for that. Texas up to 5. We talked about that game. It's interesting. I would not be surprised if, I mean, just like every Arkansas game, if they were to find a way to lose this one, don't hate that at all. Probably soaring over, but we'll see how Vandy's defense comes out. Loves USC. Don't forget about them. GG's. Colgate -8 in the championship game. A lot of points. I could see that one ended up close. Don't know if I have much else, Goots. Keep scrolling.
Yeah, Lehigh is the Goots POD of the day. Give me Lehigh.
Wow. I don't have a problem with that. I think this could be a close game.
They covered for me against Colgate, I think like 2 Saturdays ago. I'm going back to them.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Do you remember that game? That could be the difference. Yeah,
it was on cheat sheet.
Yeah, it was. That was a Crabs POD, I'm pretty sure. Should have won that game, right? Yeah. That was a interesting one. Yeah. I don't think they win, but I think that game's close. So I'm with you.
Perfect.
But keep scrolling. Hokie showing heart. Keep scrolling. I want to see what we have in the night slate or late slate, maybe. I don't think I have anything else. Talked about NC State, Syracuse. Don't feel like getting involved with the A10 games today. I do definitely thought about getting the counter with Middle Tennessee. We talked about that yesterday. Krabs was liking them to make a run. Louisiana Tech's been getting a lot of line respect. That has really not amounted to anything in the past couple of weeks, and they're just not playing good basketball right now in a game that you would think should be low scoring. It's the Middle Tennessee team who wants to slow down and play, very conservative basketball. They turn the ball over a good bit, but they've kind of mitigated those issues a little bit to close the year. I could see that game being very close. Maybe the upset gets pulled and Krabs CUSA ticket has life. Stanford Cal is probably soaring over. I'll say that. That line is also very short. Stanford, like I said, beat the absolute piss out of them on their senior night just last week. They had Jalen Tyson in a bag. They had Fardaws looking confused. Jalen Cone shot tour dates from 3, even though he had plenty of open looks. Those looks probably fall today. I think Jalen Cone probably key to their win, but Jalen Tyson, he ain't going to go out sad. So this game's at the very least, I think, going to have points, but I would not be shocked to see Cal pull the upset. Anything else here, Goods? Don't think so.
Gotta talk about Missouri.
Oh, yeah, Missouri, Georgia. I'm just so tired of Missouri, man. I'm so tired of trying to take them in sharp spots.
Today might be the day.
Could be the day. It's just, wouldn't it be funny? They didn't win a game all conference season. They won in the first game of the tourney. I could so see it. It's a weird spot.
They might fuck around and win the tournament.
Sure. Well, the winner of this game gets Florida, so you can wrap that one up. But yeah. That'll be interesting. So I think Mizzou is probably right side, but I'm not playing it. Arizona State, Utah. I definitely think Utah's the side there, but I don't want to lay it. That's been a tricky thing in the Pac-12. We can move though. I think we're done with CBB. I do want to get to the NBA a little bit. Looks like we got Trent lurking too. Potential Trent PODs. He looks an absolute rat in the queue. I don't know. There's not much that I love in the NBA, but like I talked about, I want to go down to the Lakers game for sure. Talked about that one a little bit. Kings on a back-to-back. AD has been owned by Sabonis in this matchup. Kings, though, they've just been the perfect letdown spot team for this entire season. We've seen it time and time again. And I think it's a good matchup here, too, against the Lakers, who it would be a little different if it was a team that had to work through the inside when the Kings were in this spot. Kind of same rationale as the Spurs, right? Like they're a team who you need to work on them on the perimeter. It's kind of how it has to go on both sides. Teams like that are the perfect letdown spot, targets against the Kings. So the Lakers today, I think, are very live. 2.5, moving up to that on the road. Very, very telling. So no beam lighting tonight. No beam lighting. Jordan Whitehead's coming back to the Bucks. Really? Oh, that's huge. That is huge. I'm bricked. I'm absolutely so bricked for that. That's huge. That's so huge. What else do we have on the slate? Pistons. Pistons are playing the Raptors, and they're -3.5 at home. I mean, they're going to win that game. That's could be a lay piece. Not safe lay piece. It's the fucking Pistons, but they're going to win that game. And I know the plus EV community or just the popular Twitter sharps are all over Cade Assist. I mean, Cade Assist is probably soaring. He's going to have a legacy game.
How free is Halliburton's threes?
I mean, it might be air. That's going to be – he might hit 3 in the first quarter.
That might be a first half cash.
That might be literally the freest thing of all time. Like that – I mean, Lord. Back on board. We get a juice check on that?
Kyle juice check?
Kyle juice check on that?
Yeah, I got you. Hold on.
That could be the difference.
Pacers, player threes, 110 to the over.
That could be literally magic. Could be so magic.
So, why does that pique your interest? But when it's -140, you say shit's cooked.
Well, I just don't want it to be significantly just the under. The thing is,
I'm fucking done, dude.
Bro, that's insane comment. But I mean, Halliburton, he might have to do everything today.
Why?
Oh, he's playing another bad perimeter defense. I mean, a lot of his threes are pull up though, so I guess it really doesn't apply as much to him. But if he does get the ball in the catch and shoot, that could be the difference because that's a terrible catch and shoot defense. So I don't know. We'll see. I wonder how often they're going to let Nembhard run the offense in this one. I know they do it every so often, but we'll see. I think Halliburton assists. Everybody loves that too. Those might be air, but he's going to literally be prime Stockton and Curry in this game. So it might be everything.
You like his assist today?
I do like his assist today. I mean, for every reason that I just talked about, there's going to be shooter after shooter sitting there on the Bulls. Whether it's fucking Miles Turner goes out and stretches on Vooch, whether it's, I don't know, whoever, even Siakam's probably going to spray some from the corner too. It's going to be a couple of guys out there. So I think they're all going to be shooting. But yeah, why don't we play some two-mans today, Trent?
How about the garbage bowl of the day?
Which one is that? Is that the Pistons?
No, I would say it's Hornets Grizzlies.
Ooh.
That's got your name all over it.
I don't know if it does though.
Look at
The
that.
problem is the Hornets, or not the Hornets, but the Grizzlies. There's not really a bettable guy on the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Unless they're playing the Wizards. And it's fucking who did they have last night? Trey Jameson go off for 22. And he's really never on the board anyway. But bro, don't know ball, man. UAB legend.
Is that the lowest total of the year?
That might be, yeah. I mean, so that's maybe one day off from the toilet bowl two-piece, because that game I just really want no parts of. I mean, maybe it's Jamison if he's on the board, but he just had the greatest game of his career. I don't really want to do that. But Anything else, I will gladly get into. I mean, Lakers props is probably not a terrible idea. I'll say that. You got any super goats you're looking at for the Lakers?
No, but TCU Lakers might be the bozo pack of day.
I mean, it's both hitting.
Yeah,
Could be the difference.
I've already texted that to Dave, and he already locked it.
Of course he did, dude. Of fucking course he did. Well, that should be your goal. I think you get out a strategy, you put a Laker in there. That's the strategy because they're going to absolutely torch the Kings, especially from deep. Anthony Davis might need to get back too. D'Lo just might tweak. Could be D'Lo threes if that's on the board. Trent, please take the Lakers. Place Kings ML and heard me say it's cake. Could be the difference. Could so be the difference.
Lowest. Sorry, Trent. Go ahead.
No, is anyone else's prize picks fucking not working, or am I just fucking banned
Mine's working.
on your computer?
Oh, I
It's
don't
working
know.
on,
I don't know about
working on
computer.
mine.
Yeah, I might be banned, bro. They might have just fucking blocked it.
Yeah, I can tell you that they don't want you banned, brother.
They don't.
they don't need you banned.
Wow.
They gotta make sure you're alive and well. Play some injuries.
What were you saying, Goots?
Lowest total of the year in the NBA was last week. It was the Nets Grizz game at 205. So this is the lowest total in that Hornets game.
Wow. That could be the difference. That could be piss. All right. Well, we'll see. We got to come up with some squares. We can whale. Why don't we whale two-piece today? Why is that not just the goal right now?
Because, dude.
What do you mean because?
All right, let me pull up my phone because this shit's fucking lagging.
Getting loud, man.
Is Luka getting an 8th straight?
I mean, he probably is. Like, I don't realistically, I don't know who the Warriors are going to put on Luka for consistently. Like, what are you going to do? They don't have somebody that matches up with him good enough to keep him on for the entire game. So, like, he's going to score. I think he's going to be a scorer in this game, first of all, but he's going to get everything.
Look at that. I took his under in that game. Didn't hit that.
You're sharp. So sharp.
But I promise you, I take his rebounds, dude. You'll find a way to not fucking go over.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, as popular as it is, I would not mind just taking his regular points.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to tweak. They're going to throw a bunch of different looks at him, but nobody can keep up with him for the entire game on that team. Like, what are you realistically going to do if you're the Warriors?
His points look kind of low.
That's not the regular square. It's his gob.
Oh, that's the green guy?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that looks normal.
He was at 33.5, just got bumped up pretty recently, I think. So I think before he started, it was 33.5. But yeah, I mean, especially after hooking under everything because of the blowout, and he would have soared over every single thing. It's probably his get back. So I don't know that there's going to be a blowout in this game. There's definitely blowout potential because they are -7, but we all know what the Mavs have done at home when they're hanging these bigger spreads to these competent teams. So we'll see.
Why do you think today is the day that fucking the Lakers and AD get their lick back against the Kings?
Because the Kings just blew out the Bucks yesterday. And it was the Kings. The Kings are the team that I just blindly bet let down spots every single time. It's just like we did that. Remember the Spurs over the week or last week when they almost won the game outright? Yeah, that was same spot. And now the Kings are at home too, which the Lakers moving from dog to favorite, and not just dog to fave, but dog to -2.5 is pretty telling. And the Kings, yeah, the Lakers have not beaten the Kings this year. So that line move, everything encompassed is crazy. Crazy. So we ain't seen the beam today. FSU 11-0 run, GGVT, Crabs live piss. That's crazy.
GG.
Yeah, we'll be saying.
So,
What's
what?
up?
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you got any ice whales today?
Haven't even fucking looked other than – no, I haven't looked at all, to be honest with you. I mean, McKinnon owns the fucking Canucks, but, like, am I really going back to him, man? No.
I mean, I assumed you're going to wake up and play some McKinnon, McDavid two-piece.
Shit. But like that's just like I'm gonna be in rat piss forever if I just keep doing that.
I mean, I tell you that all the time. You still do it.
I'm
Like,
hitting.
I figured it was just part of it.
I'm hitting a 4-man today, and I don't care how it has to happen. I'm fucking smacking today.
Sure. I'll be in. I want to see what you put together.
Do I put your guy in there?
Who?
Your fucking McNeese, bro.
Well, that starts at like 4. So that's a day geyser. That's why it's up so early.
Okay.
So I mean, take it because it's hitting, but you don't need to throw in your shit because I know you despise sweating out early squares.
What are your thoughts on this Nuggets Heat game?
You know, I would love to take the Heat at a little get back spot. I just don't know that the Plums are screaming at me. I'm not gonna lie. If you're gonna put together or put a square in that game, I don't think it's a bad idea to put a Nugget square in there because the two guys I would say to target go for KCP or MPJ. I assume you're not betting on KCP, but MPJ definitely the matchup advantage out of everybody there. He can't guard a spot up shooter to save their lives, and he is definitely a little matchup problem for whoever they choose to put on him. So I would say he's your guy if you're looking for a GOAT, but it's a tough game.
That could be a move. He's been balling.
Could certainly be a move. And yeah, I do remember last time. This is the Jimmy matchup where he hooked under everything. So I mean, he's probably turning green today, but he's gotten bumped down a couple times. So probably staying away from that. But yeah, that's probably what I would do. I don't know anything else on the board is really screaming at me yet. I'm gonna have to get deeper in the lab. But let's get Sharp Report back up and Squad Ride going. Put up the train goods. Let me see it. Get going. W's. Let me see Sharp Report. I don't think it went over the Crabs template. I think I looked at Crabs bets outside of USC. I want to see it. Well beyond that Chewy's pick for today. Sure. USC, UTSA are both on that. Xavier, Georgetown, sure. I don't know if I'm too tapped in any of those except UTSA, obviously. TCU is not in the running. That's a daytime slot, of course. Starts in an hour. They're winning that game. No questions asked. Unofficial Squad Ride. But let me know in the chat what the option should be. I think Lakers are non-negotiable, of course. They're going in there. They're winning that game. UTSA, that's an early one that starts in an hour too. So we're keeping that out as well. I don't know how tapped I am on the Big East games today with Xavier and Georgetown. Don't love it. If your Temple decides to bet on themselves this go around instead of bet against, yeah, it's definitely a thing. They just beat them. Maybe that was the game where they nuked their own money line. That could be the difference. Looked through some of these other games. We had some angles on a little later. I would not hate, even though we just faded them, putting BC. I'm going to put my foot down and say BC +7 in the Squad Ride. Vote.
You're not taking TCU spread?
No. No fear. Just leave it up. Juice up. They're going to win the game. Not overcomplicating it. If it's close, somehow always is in these games.
No ice from you today?
What do you want from me on the ice, man?
Yeah, it's only 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take Kings and Preds, or not Kings and Preds, Blues and Preds, even though I don't really like the Blues, but one of them's winning. Other than that, I'm good. But I think we just go with those Goots. Little 3-piece.
What was the third one?
Actually, I probably didn't say a third.
No.
So we had Lakers, BC.
Mm-hmm.
Can't put UTSA and TCU in there because that starts very soon. Don't know if I love the Big East in general. What time does Goots POD start?
Lehigh.
So I kind of like to play. That's a late geyser. Lehigh plus 8.5.
7:05.
That. I like that play.
All right.
I like that play.
Just those 3.
Yeah, we can go just those three.
You're seeing 7.5 for Lehigh.
7.5. So I saw 8.
You saw 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still 7.5 in my book.
Oh yeah, we can go 7.5. UTSA not on Blue Buck. GG's. Early sweats. Frogs and Roadrunners. Texas 2-piece early sweat.
When did the Roadrunners start?
Same time.
Oh shit! Am I really tapping in?
I mean, that's a moose shit game. I don't know if you want to get involved. It's literally toilet bowl ratchet teams.
UTSA, huh?
Yeah. Go, 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 go. Here we go. Locked in. Locked in. We got Lakers. We got BC. We got Lehigh. Not going to lie, what should be winning the poll is winning the poll, so I'm satisfied. They're winning that game. They're winning that game. Vote your band, of course. UTSA has treated you well. Rumors.
True. That just sold me. TCU, Roadrunners, 2-piece max.
I mean, I'm not playing it as a 2-piece. It's kind of a joke, but playing them separate could be the difference.
Kiss, dude.
Frisco Max.
Or
2.
Lakers, let's fucking go, boys.
Yes, the Lake Show. That's what we needed in this economy. They're winning that game. That'll be fire. Huge letdown spots. We do need to craft the PP Wells, though. I'm telling you to put together a 2-piece Bob today. That's literally what works. Every time you simplify the approach and you put together a 2-piece bomb, that's what works. I want to see you do that today.
Easy.
Do it. You put together a winner.
I have 600 free play. Am I putting it on the fucking Roadrunners?
I mean, I would say put it on the Frogs.
Yeah, but it's too juicy.
I mean, you can take the spread if you want. We're going to win.
Could just be the Lake Show.
Could just be the Lake Show. I mean, that's what, minus 130-ish? Probably not that much shorter. Yeah, how we get 600 free play now?
Yeah, because we're down, fat cunt.
Shit. Well, you can get it back. Start it with the Lakers ML tonight. Chats. It's a squad ride for today. Kings, huge letdown spot. We're riding with that. LeBron, AD, take us home. Get your get back, AD. Stop getting bitched around by Sabonis. But the beam ain't being lit tonight. So appreciate you guys. W stream, no crabs, no problem. We got it. We got winners. So let's get it together. Goots, send us out of here, man. We're good. W chat.